The XRP ecosystem is going through one of the biggest changes we've seen in years. The changes could have a big impact on everything from international payments to loan markets worth billions of dollars. We're going to talk about that. I have some good news about that. This is an interesting plan by SpenderBits. It splits its use between the XRP record and Flare. A company that is listed on the Nasdaq has secured hundreds of millions of dollars in XRP at an unbelievable price. BlackRock is quietly putting $1 billion into loans on the blockchain. Does that have something to do with Ripple? The Circle is launching a fast stablecoin network that will compete with Ripple and everything it's doing to help people send money across borders. We'll look at the numbers, the big plays, and the shifts that don't get much attention. Let us look at this. Today I did this model here. This is a picture, the exercise at Monte Carlo. This is something I've done before with other coins. I don't believe I did it for XRP, but this is just taking volatility and running a bunch of fake results. The worst possible outcome is $2.07. The middle possible outcome is $5.35, and the best possible outcome is $14.47. Instead of a single price goal, 500 Monte Carlo simulations of XRP's past returns and volatility show a range of outcomes that could happen. Some people will get mad and yell that $14 isn't a good price. It's just how the numbers turned out. But you can see that there are ways to get to $100. This doesn't mean that's not possible. The darkest shades are just the most likely ones after all these tests. It might also go down. That's important to keep in mind here. So why do we need to use this model? One of the best things about the Monte Carlo is that it is based on instability. It gives you a range of possible results for realistic risk management, and it's based on how things have actually worked in the past. Inputs from the past are given here. What does this model not do well? The past may not be a good indicator of the future. Things shift. It doesn't take into account big picture factors like new rules or technologies, and it might not be able to predict big changes in the market. There's something like the epidemic that comes up here. You won't be able to get that in past volatility. You can get a lot of useful information from Monte Carlo analysis about different results, but it works best when you use it in a bigger picture. We'll be adding more tools like this soon, but I think this one gives you a good idea of what the options are and what the most likely outcome is based on how volatile XRP has been in the past. One more tool to look at here. SpenderBits is one of the most interesting XRP ledger apps. The goal is to use the power of XRP ledger to make Bitcoin easier to use. From now on, the XRPL part of the app will only work with native stablecoins like USDC, RLUSD, and of course XRP. That's why those things will be added to the SpenderBits app. But there's also Flare, which handles Bitcoin transfers and will soon be able to add F assets like FBTC. That makes a lot of sense since Flare now lets you do more than just send and receive Bitcoin payments. You can now use it in all of these new Flare systems to make yield and do other things. This makes a lot of sense. It takes these two blockchains to a whole new level. This will be great for SpenderBits, I think. This change in strategy makes it possible for Flare to handle more assets, while the XRP Ledger app now focuses more on payment rails. People who own Bitcoin need to switch from the XRPL app to Flare's app. This is an app I have never used before, but I might be interested in doing so in the future. I believe they are building something here. It makes a lot of sense to use both XRP Ledger and Flare in this way. In the past, XRP only made sense if you wanted to send Bitcoin funds. We now have a much stronger environment though. I believe this will make a lot of new opportunities for SpenderBits in the future. As time goes on, Vivo Power does more and more. They have a pretty good plan here. They're going to give Ripple Labs $100 million. 211 million XRP tokens are safe. It costs 47 cents for one XRP coin. How about that? What do they do to get that much attention for only $100 million? Because if you look at the price of Ripple stock right now, the XRP on their books is selling at a huge discount. That's something they're likely to work hard to change over time. We look at small plans. They paid more than usual. Ripple should be the same, but I think they need to do some work to get there. There will be direct ownership in Ripple and XRP, clear legal title without SPV middlemen, control through BitGo custody, Nasdaq private markets, and audits every 3 months. This move connects crypto assets, energy assets, and stock assets. So a lot of creative things will happen here, from keeping these crypto assets on your books to making use of the technologies. And this just goes to show that Vivo Power is thinking about how things are going. At a very low coin price, we can get a piece of Ripple, which will let us use their XRP, and they give us all of their business for free. Pretty cool move by Vivo Power. They're really doing cool things. This BlackRock deal and the news about the loan club are now here. Crypto Eddie told us about this. The whole deal from BlackRock is worth $1 billion. This has something to do with Ripple. Susan Athey is on the board of the loan club and used to be on the Ripple board. To make this even better, they might add an XRP database because this is exactly what they want to do. They want to tokenize these kinds of debt instruments and see if they can grow the market. This type of DeFi has a link to TradFi and BlackRock. They do have a problem, of course. Yield is what what people want. We can see that the stock market costs a lot. This is why they're playing around with crypto assets. And they will also do things like this where they can make more money. They need to go. They're already getting all the houses and other things. It seems like a great idea to turn these kinds of loans into tokens and use them on the blockchain. It makes a lot of sense to me. Now, Crypto Eddie seems to be saying that if Ripple isn't involved in this, they'll be in something very close. Prosper might be a good choice because it has ties to Chris Larsson and was one of his first businesses. But loans like this will be turned into tokens on the XRP record and the blockchain. This deal could be the start of it. It would be a big one. It would take a big one just to prove that this technology is safe. Everyone knows about Lending Club, and BlackRock is the biggest company in the world. Once more, not just buying tokens, but also putting this technology to you. You can be sure I've been telling them BlackRock is going to start on the XRP ledger at some point. You can be sure of it. And that was really cool. The ARK blockchain is going live. This is the next generation of stablecoin technology. This is blockchain.